What's going on, ladies and gents? We're gonna get right into the video, but I wanted to share with you a little bit of perspective on why I'm doing this project specifically. If you don't really care about that, then go ahead and skip to this time. Completely understand. But anyways, here it goes. Hey guys, if you see this video and you want others like this, or you're wondering where the rest of them are in the series, we have playlists and videos for days. Anything from simple, conservative, and doable builds all the way to brain twisters like this one. And we also have a short form video channel called TV Nation Shorts. And we also have a products and shopping channel called, TV Nation Store and Products. We have the three separated for your guys' preferences. And any video in this series for this playlist will also be linked in the description in the comment section. I'm gonna level with you just for a second. Explain to you why I'm doing this boat. I know this boat is probably not gonna be an audience favorite. I'm just by predicting what's been viewed and what's been not viewed through all my channels here on YouTube. Let's just put it this way. There is a super big desire for me to just do nice, simplistic, conservative, doable builds for people here, because that seems to be what most people want. But then there's this internal hunger in me, always fighting for me to excel and just upgrade my skill and keep going before it's too late. Because I can kind of feel my time slipping away the older I get. I'm in my 40s and everything is slowing down. I'm just trying to make up for lost time, essentially. I didn't find out what I was supposed to do until I had wasted tons of time doing literally anything else than what I was supposed to do. When I went into the military, when I went to the Navy, you take an ASVAB score and they show you the jobs that you qualify for. I qualify for a corpsman, an aviation ordnanceman, which is, you guys work around fighter jets and bombs. And then there was a bunch of CB jobs or construction and tradesman jobs that I could have gotten any one of them, builder, steel worker. That should have been my first clue when I was 17, 18, that I should have actually went in there, because I scored astronomically for all those. But because I wanted to be cool and work around jets and bombs, I chose the stupidest job, which pretty much results out to no actual usable skills out in the world, because when you get out of the military, being a bomb tech doesn't help you. Nobody, what are you gonna do, work in fireworks? The second one, when I got out, because they beat into your head college, everybody kind of demonized trades, made it look like it was you were the gutter scrap of society if you went into a trade and you needed a degree to be anything. So you believe these lies. Your parents tell you them, your peers tell you them, your mentors even tell you it. And so there I went. When I was going into college, even in there was clear signs. I checked out a few of them. I checked out the Art Institute, where I think I could have maybe even dominated there if I'd have just actually went there. Just sizing of everybody else's work compared to what I knew I could do. I could have been an animator, could have been graphic designer, could have been any of those things. I didn't choose it because they were risky and I already had a family. So I went the more stable, conservative route. I went into human and social services, even did corrections for a little bit, because those were stable jobs that you could just be to provide your family. And I was just miserable. I had never been the most miserable in my life than I was maybe in those jobs. And the whole time I was missing it until I built my first John boat. And then I got a little bit of praise and approval from the audience here for that. I started gaining a following. Then I started actually liking to build things, and I started kind of excelling in building things. And I was thinking the whole time, man, this is what I was just supposed to be doing, not this nonsense. And after that, my day jobs, anything I was doing before, it was all locked in terminal decline. I didn't want to do anything else but this. This is very interesting, because you hear people, they'll tell you these things. The pen is lighter than the shovel. But really, if you're meant to wield a shovel, or you're meant to wield a wrench, and you're not meant to sit in a freaking office job and wield a pen and type on a computer all the time, you need to go and follow what you're supposed to do. Yeah, at the end of your time in the trade, your body may hurt. But I'll tell you, your time in the office, if you do an office job because somebody told you is better than the trade job, but you're supposed to be somewhere in the trades, your brain will rot in front of a computer screen. You will hate it. You will implode. You will become fat and bald, bloated and depressed. No amount of caffeine will help you through it. I'm just saying, you got to know your destiny. Essentially, projects like this Mullet Toon are making up for lost time. So these conservative, doable builds that we make here, the channel, those, I like doing them. I can get them done quickly. They help enable you guys and give you guys perspective so you can build your own boats. But it's these projects like this Mullet Toon and the Yak Killer and that bow rig and that little Palm Prowler 10. There's only a handful of them that were just truly challenging, where I stressed myself out. Even my own personal build, like the Ultra John boat, those 5 probably, I was scared the whole time I couldn't pull it off, and I had to learn new things and push through. like levels to get there. A lot of mental stress and a lot of just like physical stress and a lot of wear and tear. But it was to kind of make up for lost time, because these are skills I should have just learned in my 20s. And I could have been like, who knows where now, right? So a lot of it is playing catch up. A lot of it is stressing myself out, learning. It's just a learn as you go thing. I don't have any mentors here. I don't have anybody. The only people I have really are like, you know, my shops. I get perspective from Nate. I get perspective from Chris and, you know, Ryan sometimes. But that's it. Like, it's just a team of us. We all do the same thing. I'm saying there won't be too many of these like crazy all out, throw everything I can into it builds, but there will just be a few, and it's specifically for personal and professional growth. I need it. So as much as you guys want to see like some simplistic stuff, and I have nothing more than that. It's like a 10-to-1 ratio of simplistic versus these out of all the projects I've had. So those are coming after this, I promise you. But this one I have to do it, and it's going to be pretty outrageous. It may be unrealistic for most people, but I'm also going to try and show you how to do it if you want to pursue something like this. I even have some kind of entry-level kind of learning how to weld, like for beginners kind of thing. I'm going to throw my version out there. I suggest that you guys maybe look at professionals on YouTube. A lot of them have really good perspective. I did watch and learn a little bit from them. They use a bunch of terms, and their mentality as a welder doesn't really translate to the average person very well in terms of understanding. I think it's where my videos, I think, will do well. Ultimately, in this video, there will be a lot of welding, and welding is nothing more than a means to an end for me. A tool I need to accomplish a task. So in trying to build this boat, I was trying to think of the best way that I could pull it off. I already had kind of a vision of what I wanted. I know I wanted a double wall with a thick gunnel that I could put rod holders and possibly even cup holders in, and then just a nice sidewall. I wanted no furniture, so that really cheap thin gate and thin aluminum tubing, you know, we threw that all off earlier when we gutted the entire thing. And so we're going to be making our own fencing / walls and our own benches that are actually usable, so people can sit on them just like they would lounge on a regular pontoon boat. But there's things there. There's gonna be rod lockers, and there's gonna be usable storage, like a lot of it. The deck's gonna be really made to stand on versus sitting. We'll have like removable throw pads, like patio furniture even. Just throw them right on the deck, and then you can sit on them and lounge, and then when it's time to actually get up there and fish, take them and throw them away. Because like standing on like squishy seats because you're trying to get the edge, I was always constantly kind of doing that on my buddy's pontoon boat. When we would go fish for him, I was always trying to find an extra way to gain a little bit more leverage around the furniture. Furniture was a pet peeve. No actual furniture will be put in this boat. Just the ability to have furniture on demand. That's the bigger key here. So there's one. Here's the other. I'm matching the 1/8 inch. I have two 16 gauge and two 12 gauge. Both the same length, same diameter, but just one's thicker than the other. All right, so we're just pre-assembling these a little bit. They're extremely easy. They just got two very robust mounts that go on with 1/4-20 hardware. And just a socket will install them immediately. And this is as a 50 incher. This is pretty serious the whole way down. Underneath, I decided they'll mount underneath the bar, and they'll hold quite a bit of strength right there underneath the bar. Here it is. It's the whole fence. Just got the pre-frame welded. Son here is going to help me put it here on the. We're going to test it on the Toon right now. Out. This is where we're at. Light bars here, and then pushed here, and then we're gonna have a little corner cube. They make these cubes to complement the light bars. I mean, it's part of the light bar set, so we can get that corner. It's a real important thing. So we're gonna have that corner cube kind of flared out. It'll look pretty cool once it's done. Like, this will make a lot more sense why it's shaped this way. The whole thing, just span it down. We got the top framed, so like it's just going all the way down here. A pretty generous double wall. We won't be running all the wires and conduits through this wall. We'll be having spots intermittent between here that will be actually holding. All right, guys, I mean, I think it's time to put it on here because before it gets any heavier and more complicated, like, it's pretty far along, but it's not so far along that we can't undo some things. But any farther along and we're gonna be really stuck. So I know for the most part this is gonna be pretty solid. We're just gonna have to finish it off up there. And there's some things I just won't even be able to really see how to do it until it's actually on the boat. So let's get on the boat.
Is this like a seat compartment?
Looks pretty good. That's a big rod locker. That's a gigantic mega rod locker to fit 10-inch rods if I need to. So I can just...
We should go catfishing on this.
Oh, dude, we're gonna go catfishing and partying. We're gonna do it all the time. We just gotta get it done. So the original fencing was mounted directly on top of that metal lip all the way around the boat. And we know that that's sitting a little higher than the wood, so we were trying to compensate for that height. We did floor it at first, thinking that was a good idea. It ended up not being the worst idea, but it was definitely not a great idea, and I would not do this again. It was stupid. Just shim it and then worry about the flooring later. I ended up not even going with this color for the interior flooring, so it was just a waste of turf, and this stuff's expensive, so just be cautious. We got this plywood for a cut table to cut the aluminum sheets. We'll show you about that. And then tons of PVC pipe, and this is the black. This is the lightest conduit they make. I don't know how cheap it is, but it's extremely light, and obviously weight is a big thing on a pontoon boat, so we'll do what we can here because PVC can get extremely heavy very fast. During the initial design phase, I have to kind of struggle bust through it. I have a vision of what I want and what it's basically going to look like, but then there's pulling it off. And that involves a lot of fails. So it's pretty much trial and error all the way for the beginning. And then once I get an initial design down, then we can talk about refining the other side. You'll see this side, the first side got kind of weird. And then the opposite side on the right looks just way more refined and like I know what I was doing. What gives me comfort in all of that is that once you sheet this up and cover it up, you'll never be able to tell, unless of course you watch this series. And though you can't see it, there was a period of time where I had all these things straight. I had all these jigs in place, these square rollers, making sure everything would stay straight while I welded, and then somehow some of it warped and pushed in, pulled out. I had to actually cut and extend some of these beams. You can't see it here, but that was a thing. Really kind of warped my mind. I couldn't figure out what caused it or how it failed, but it sure did. But then you kind of just start feeling your way to success, and eventually you catch on to what you need to do. And once the momentum is there, it's there. You gotta just go with it. I ended up cutting a section out of the entire gate to leave a door opening. I thought that we would just bypass the door, and then I thought how stupid that was. And so I tried to make it trendy. I tried to add interesting shapes and lines that I normally can't put into a regular boat. I try to do it in this one since it's just a blank slate. And I know a rod locker is highly irregular in one of these boats, but considering what everybody else does with their rods on a pontoon boat, there's just no good place for them. Even ones that you can modify or even ones that are tailored towards fishing, they just stink. Then you're running rods that are $300 to $600 combos. You don't want them tangled up like that. You need a place to put them. There are also 4 and 6 foot cutouts and the side of the wall at the very top, and those are for bow fishing lights / flounder lights where you can essentially put any LED bar up there. We're specifically going to be using Flashlight's LED bars just because of Flashlight's brilliance and quality and durability over time. We'll be integrating pretty much all their lights into this boat as the series goes on. I really wanted to save the exterior walls for last, but it was really windy out there and I was kind of desperate for anything to kind of break the wind so I could finish welding the frame out there. And so I tried 0.063 sheeting that's 1/16 inch thick. It ended up being a terrible idea. Like, I use that a lot for many things, but for an exterior wall, it just didn't hold well to the whole wall. Every time I riveted it, it kind of crinkled. Didn't crinkle, but there was a little wave with every rivet, and you had to rivet it because when I tried to weld it later, because I got annoyed with all the waves and wrinkles from the rivets, I tried to drill the rivets out and then weld the frame into the back, And then it really warped everywhere. And then it was just, I had to rip the whole thing off. It was embarrassing. Everybody just passes by my house looking at that messed up wall. And so, yeah, it had to go. As far as these walls go, they're supposed to be standalone. I mean, you're just reattaching them to the deck and to the frame with the same 1/4-20 nuts and bolts. So I just figured the gussets in between, with one every 18 to 24 inches, those gussets alone stiffened up the walls dramatically. Like, you could have just leaned right on them and been fine. And the cutout for the bow lights in both the front and back didn't have any impact on the structural integrity of the unit, though we will have under supports every so often just to ensure longevity. The other thing you're going to need in this boat is a live well. Now, I don't really plan on doing a whole lot of bass fishing out of this, but I will do some, and then I'll mainly be trying to get live bait and keeping that alive. And then there's a point where we're bow fishing on this rig, and you need a dead box. You can't just throw those fish back in the lake and let nature do its course after you lay waste to them. You have to take them and dispose of them or feed them to something. I also included some aluminum mesh in between the frame that I would like LED lights to soft glow out of. I think it'll look very cool. I did it on another boat. They'll do it better on this one. The major asset I have in this boat is that I will have time. No rush, no nothing. It gets done when it gets done. Stay tuned for the next. I finally have gotten past a big part of it, and I got a lot of momentum right now. I'm gonna try and push through because I have these creative windows in my, like, where it got super motivated. I'll neglect everything else just to push through it until it's gone. And when it's gone, it who knows when it'll come back. So right now in this moment where I'm real motivated to build it, we're gonna try and push through it as best we can. Well, and also while we have good weather, because once bad weather comes, there's no good. It's just, you can't work out there. We're also gonna be putting on a poly tube from Pontoon Wholesalers. They have this third tube design. It's plastic, slides in 3 spots. You can actually install this yourself, which is the main reason I was gonna do it. I was gonna go and have somebody just make a third tune and put it on for me. And then I bailed from that idea because, well, for one, it was gonna cost the same whether somebody did it for me or I did it for myself. And then two, just, it wouldn't show people how to add something like this. So the third tune will be kind of unique because we did get rid of the gas tank and we got rid of the motor now. And they'll allow us to do a few things. And then the gas tank and the motor mount will all be in the third tune. And that will give us some advantages, some pretty substantial ones, I would think. So stay tuned for that, guys. Anyways, thank you. See you in the next one.